the final chapter of the Srrws of Satan, chapter 42, halfway, a little bit more than halfway through of what's basically an epilogue, where we find he wakes up and he finds himself on the sea, bound hand and foot to a raft or something that basically that floats and has prevented him from drowning. And he's basically looking up at the blue sky and is strangely happy, even though he knows, oh, I'm probably going to die on this raft. I'm in the middle of the ocean. Nobody's around. Probably going to die, but um, he's happy, strangely happy, because he's given himself over to God. This is very much the he is that last chapter apparently was supposed to be, yeah, I guess it's as easy as that. You have a supernatural encounter and you go, oh shit, now I believe in God. Now I realize all of my faults and stuff like that. And I'm going to trust in God now. And he expects it's not going to be very long before he dies. He sleeps. When he wakes up, he's being rescued by a steamer. It's in the middle of the Atlantic where he's been rescued. His tongue is scorched and parched. They're asking him questions. He doesn't speak, and he doesn't speak for a good long time. Finally, he does. Captain kind of says, like, we're just coming up on the coast of England. Can get your name and stuff like that. And he says, my name's Jeffrey Tempest. And went, you're Jeffrey Tempest, the former millionaire? He's like, what? And it turns out, yes, his lawyers, Bentham and Ellis, succumbed to the temptations of all his very neglected negligence of wealth, and embezzled all of his money, forged his signatures, ended up investing it in like bubble schemes that just all popped, or just terrible investments, and all disappeared. So even though they're trying to hunt them down, there's like nothing left. There's nothing left. He is reduced to basically the state that he was before, as a poor man. And the captain's like, oh, I'm sorry to have to be the one to kind of give you this news. And he's like, oh no, I'm very happy. And he sees it as God's providence, as God's mercy, that he has been stripped of all his wealth. And now it's great because now I can just work. The prospect of me working for my living is goes out in front of me, which is a very much kind of it's an interesting viewpoint of the world, because there's a lot of people who work really, really hard and are still in fucking abject poverty and completely exploited by those above them. And that obviously isn't the kind of world that Maria Corelli is picturing, even though that's very much the world that she lives in. Like, all the rich people that Tempest has been going through have gotten there through the exploitation of those below them, of holding power over them and using that to make more and more money and concentrate their money more and more. Maybe I'm talking about today's world as well. So there's that. He does get back. He refuses to prosecute them. He says, like, basically having all that wealth is their own punishment. He's called mad and not interfering with the course of law and stuff like that, but he doesn't care. And one of the penny paragraphs, one of the hacks who probably had been hired to big up his works, goes and digs up his novel and savages it. Not as much as he says, not as much as I savage Maria Corelli, but savages it, which of course has the opposite effect. And suddenly the public take up his book and are reading it by the thousands. And he ends up getting a reading it by the thousands. Whereat the astute Morganson, as Virtue's publisher, wrote to me in wonder and congratulations, enclosing a check for £100 on royalties, and promising more in due course should the run continue. And what do they say about the book? What is it? To my complete and entire satisfaction, a man on the staff of one of the leading journals dug out my book from Moody's underground cellar and slashed it with a bitterness and venom only excelled by my own violence when anonymously libeling the works of Mavis Clare. And the result was remarkable, for in a sudden wind of caprice, the public made a rush for my neglected literary offspring. They took it up, handled it tenderly, read it lingeringly, found something in it that pleased them and finally bought it by the thousands. So he feels super happy about this. It's like, oh my God, this is £100 that I've made with my own brain work. Um, and I envied no millionaire that ever flaunted his gold beneath the sun. I thought of Mavis Clare, but dare not dwell too long upon her gentle image. In time, perhaps, when I'd settled down to fresh work, when I'd formed my life as I meant to form it, in the habit of faith, firmness, and selfishness, I would write to her and tell her all, even to that dread insight into worlds unseen beyond the boundaries of an unknown region of everlasting frozen snow. So we have that. I mean, I don't know if this book ends with him saying, "I'm going to write." I've written my story here as a part of my newfound thing. So yes, that is. We're close. I have a little chunk left, but I'm going to save that. Maybe not for tomorrow, maybe for the next day. We'll see. It's only 8 minutes long, and then I will be at the end of Srrws Satan. I have to say, I don't think Marie Corelli does. Uh, um, it's like I've enjoyed her. I've enjoyed this book, but it's like, oh, the sinning wasn't vivid enough, and now we've had the sudden conversion. And while it was a very dramatic scene and kind of supernatural, I don't think it was particularly psychologically convincing. It was very kind of hand wavy, and then Satan appeared to him as Satan and showed him his true self, and he went, "Oh, okay, I'm going to change. I believe in God now, God and only God." Um, I mean, what else was going to happen in that situation? Was the Satan also Lucio? Was he cheating by showing this all to, like, if Lucio just came out and showed all human beings, the Satan came out and showed all human beings, this is how I'm like. Okay, some people might jump on the Satan bandwagon, but you think there'd be a good hunk of people who go, "Oh, the afterlife actually is true. Okay, I better become a Christian," which is kind of against faith in from my what I think of as religion and faith. It's not based on factual evidence. It's based on a kind of some kind of a leap of, what's that word, faith. um yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not the religious guy to go on this because I'm not a religious guy. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.